The Empire ruled the stars. For centuries, no rival had dared to challenge its power. Its fleets filled the galaxy like endless waves of steel. Worlds obeyed, rebellions were crushed, and no one questioned who sat on the throne of power. To the Empire, the galaxy was already won. But everything changed in a single moment. It began in a quiet sector, far from the Empire's capital. Patrol ships drifted lazily, their captains half asleep. The region was considered safe, nothing but trade routes and old mining stations. Then the sensors screamed. Alarms rang through the Empire ship Varen. Officers jumped to their stations, confusion spreading like fire. Something was appearing in the middle of open space. No warp trail. No gate activation. No signal of arrival. It simply materialized. A massive warship, black and silent, stood where nothing had been seconds ago. The crew of the Varen stared in shock. "What is that?" an officer whispered. The scanners tried to lock on, but the results made no sense. The ship was larger than an Imperial dreadnought, yet its energy readings were strangely muted, almost primitive. No records matched it in the Imperial archives. It was as if the ship had come from nowhere, or from another time. The commander of the Varen smirked. "An old ghost ship. Some forgotten relic. We will claim it for the Empire." He ordered a hail. No response. Again and again, the Empire demanded the ship identify itself. Silence. The black warship drifted calmly, as if mocking their presence. The commander grew angry. "Aim weapons. Fire a warning shot." Green energy lanced across space and struck the mysterious ship's hull. The blast rippled, but when the light faded, the black warship was untouched. Not a single scratch. Gasps filled the bridge of the Varen. The commander's smirk faded. Impossible. Then, for the first time, the strange ship moved. Its engines glowed faintly, slow but deliberate, like a beast stretching after long sleep. And then came a voice. A cold transmission cut through every Imperial channel. "This territory belongs to no Empire. Depart, or face consequences." The bridge fell silent. The voice was not alien. It was human. Whispers ran through the crew. Human? That was impossible. Humanity was a forgotten word in the galaxy, a name spoken only in half-remembered stories. According to the Empire's records, they had been wiped out ages ago. Extinct. And yet, here they were. The commander laughed loudly, trying to hide his unease. "Extinct or not, they dare to threaten us. Destroy them." The Varen and its patrol fleet charged. Fighters launched, missiles streaked across the void, energy beams lit the darkness. The black warship waited. Then, in a single motion, its weapons came alive. Bright trails of fire cut through space. Railguns thundered, hurling slugs faster than light. Missiles launched in swarms, old in design but devastating in force. Beams of white energy cut through Imperial shields like they were paper. The Empire ships fell one by one. The Varen itself shook as a barrage slammed into its hull, tearing entire decks apart. "What kind of power is this?" the commander shouted, fear finally in his voice. On the viewscreen, the warship loomed closer. It moved slowly, but every strike was precise, merciless. This was no relic. This was a predator. Within minutes, the mighty Imperial patrol fleet was gone. Wrecks drifted in silence. Only the Varen remained, crippled and burning. The human warship did not finish it. Instead, it transmitted a single message to the surviving crew. "We have returned. Tell your Empire to remember our name. Humanity is not extinct." And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the warship vanished into nothing. No warp trail. No signal. Gone. Across the Empire, news spread like wildfire. An unknown warship had defeated an entire patrol fleet. Witnesses swore it bore the mark of humanity. The Emperor himself heard the report. He dismissed it as lies at first, but deep inside, unease grew. If humanity had truly returned, then the Empire's rule was no longer secure. And for the first time in centuries, the Empire trembled. But in the shadows of forgotten space, the truth was far more dangerous. That warship had not come alone. It was only the first. The destruction of the Varen spread through the Empire like fire through dry grass. At first, many believed it was a lie, an excuse made by weak commanders who had lost a simple battle. But the wreckage was real, the survivors' voices were trembling, and the recordings could not be faked. A single black warship had destroyed an entire Imperial patrol fleet. And it spoke with a human voice. In the great capital, deep inside the archives of history, researchers were called by order of the Emperor himself. Dusty records, sealed for centuries, were pulled out from hidden vaults. Holograms flickered to life, showing fragments of forgotten wars. The scholars whispered among themselves. This cannot be, the name is forbidden. They were wiped out, how could they return? Finally, an old historian bowed before the Emperor. His voice shook as he spoke. My lord, these recordings are true. Humanity was never a myth. They once ruled strong fleets, fought terrible wars, and nearly brought down empires older than ours. But then, they vanished. Our ancestors claimed they were destroyed. Yet, it seems they only hid. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Hidden where? No one had the answer. Rumors spread quickly. Soldiers spoke in barracks, traders whispered in markets, governors argued in private halls. The word humanity was on every tongue again. Some laughed, saying the stories were exaggerated. A ghost ship. A lucky trick. Nothing more. But others remembered the old warnings. Ancient songs of brutal warriors, of battles that left worlds burning. Humanity was not known for elegance or diplomacy. They were known for survival at any cost. And survival meant danger. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of space, the lone human warship continued to move silently. It appeared in one system, then vanished again. Each time, it left a message behind, short and sharp. We are watching. Do not enter our territory again. The Empire tried to trace the ship's movements, but every time it disappeared without a trace. Admiral Sereth, one of the Empire's proudest warriors, grew furious. No ghost ship will embarrass the Empire. If humans think they can frighten us with parlor tricks, we will show them real power. He gathered 3 fleets and launched a hunt. The chase lasted days. Imperial ships scoured asteroid belts, nebula clouds, and dark space. But the warship always appeared where least expected, striking fast before vanishing again. One destroyer reported seeing strange marks on the human hull, symbols carved deep into the steel. Old letters, unreadable to aliens, but clear to human eyes. Another officer swore he saw hundreds of missile silos open at once, yet the ship only fired a single round, as if testing. And in every encounter, the warship never allowed capture. It struck, warned, and disappeared. On the 4th day, Admiral Sereth cornered it near a dying star. His 3 fleets spread wide, blocking every escape route. This time, it will not vanish, he declared. The Empire unleashed its firepower. Beams and missiles filled the void. The star itself trembled under the fury. When the light cleared, the human ship still floated. Scarred, but alive. It answered with a single devastating salvo. A storm of nuclear fire tore through one of Sereth's fleets, turning his proud dreadnoughts into drifting wrecks. The other fleets staggered back in shock. And then, once again, the warship was gone. Admiral Sereth sat frozen in his chair, his pride crushed. He had commanded hundreds of battles. He had crushed rebellions without effort. But against one ancient ship, he had lost thousands of lives. Back in the capital, the Emperor's patience ended. Enough of these games, he thundered. If the humans live, they must be hunted. I will not allow an extinct enemy to rise from the grave. But the council was uneasy. One governor spoke nervously, My lord, if one warship can do this, what if they have more? What if this is only the beginning? The Emperor silenced him with a glare. Then we will burn them all. The Empire does not fear ghosts. Yet beyond the Emperor's throne, fear was spreading. Merchants whispered that they had seen ships with human markings near the outer rim. Refugees claimed to have been rescued by strangers who spoke the forbidden tongue. Some swore they had found human colonies hiding on old, forgotten worlds. The truth was unclear. Were the humans truly few, hiding in shadows? Or had they been building all this time, waiting for the right moment to strike? No one could say for sure. But one thing was certain, humanity was no longer a ghost. They were real. They were back. And the Empire's age of safety was over. Far away, in the black silence of deep space, the lone human warship joined another. And another. Their dark hulls drifted side by side, waiting. For the first time in centuries, the forgotten enemy was awakening. The galaxy waited. Rumors of humanity's return had spread to every corner of the Empire. Traders carried the stories like fire. Soldiers repeated them in hushed tones. Even slaves whispered in secret about the ghost fleet that defied imperial power. The Emperor could not allow this. Fear was poison, and if fear spread, his control would weaken. So he commanded a great fleet to crush the humans once and for all. Admiral Kale, proud and ruthless, was chosen to lead. He bowed before the throne. "My Emperor, I will bring you their wrecks. I will show the galaxy that humanity is nothing but dust." The fleet launched. Hundreds of warships, sleek and powerful, jumped into the sector where the humans were last seen. Their formation stretched across the stars, a wall of steel and fire. At first, the void was empty. The Empire's sensors scanned every asteroid, every shadow. No sign of life. Then, one by one, dark shapes appeared. Not from gates. Not from warp trails. They simply materialized. First one. Then two. Then 10. The Imperial fleet froze as 20 human warships drifted into view. Their hulls were scarred, their designs old, but their presence was terrifying. They formed a silent line, blocking the stars behind them. Admiral Kale sneered. "So, the ghosts show themselves at last. Outdated relics. We will erase them." The Empire fired first. Missiles streaked across the void. Beams of green energy lit up the black. Dozens of human ships vanished under the light. Or so it seemed. When the glare faded, the humans were still there. Their armor burned, but their formations remained strong. And then they answered. The void shook. Human warships unleashed hell. Railguns thundered, throwing slugs faster than light. Nuclear warheads exploded like suns, tearing through Imperial shields. Laser fire cut lines through entire squadrons. The Empire had numbers. The humans had fury. Every shot they fired was precise. Imperial cruisers exploded one after another. Battleships tried to advance, but human missiles slammed into their engines, ripping them apart. Admiral Kale's pride faltered as he watched entire wings of his fleet vanish in fire. "What is this power?" he shouted. "How can they fight like this?" The answer was clear to every survivor. The humans fought not with arrogance, but with desperation. Their ships did not care for beauty or elegance. They were built to kill. Every system was designed for war. Every missile carried twice the payload of an Imperial round. Every railgun was overpowered, dangerous even to its own ship, but deadly against enemies. The Empire had mocked them as outdated. Now, those outdated weapons were tearing the galaxy's most powerful fleet apart. Hours passed, but the humans did not slow. Imperial tactics failed again and again. Swarms of fighters were cut down by automated defenses. Flanking maneuvers collapsed as human ships shifted in perfect unity. It was not just technology. It was discipline. It was will. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced an enemy that did not fear them. Admiral Kale grew desperate. His fleet was breaking. He ordered his dreadnought forward, a massive warship armed with planet-killer cannons. "All ships, focus fire on the lead human vessel," he screamed. "Crush them now." The dreadnought's cannons glowed, building power. A beam of destruction shot across the void, slamming into a human flagship. The black ship shuddered, flames bursting from its side. For a moment, the Empire cheered. The relic would finally fall. But the human flagship did not fall. Its engines roared, pushing it forward. Its railguns fired in unison, a storm of metal ripping into the dreadnought's shields. Missiles followed, striking again and again. The dreadnought's armor cracked. Explosions tore through its decks. And then, with one final shot, the human flagship's railgun pierced its core. The Imperial dreadnought exploded, a sun blooming in the void. Silence filled the Imperial channels. The impossible had happened. Admiral Kale's voice shook. "Retreat, retreat at once." What remained of the Empire's grand fleet turned and fled. Wrecks burned in their wake, drifting silently in the cold. The humans did not chase. They held their line, scarred and battered, but unbroken. And then a single transmission echoed across the stars, carried on every Imperial frequency. "You thought us extinct. You thought us forgotten. But humanity endures. This galaxy will remember our name." News of the battle spread faster than light. The Empire had sent hundreds of ships. Few returned. The mighty dreadnought was gone. And the galaxy trembled. For centuries, the Empire had been untouchable. But now, an ancient enemy had proven otherwise. The forgotten humans had risen, and their first clash was only the beginning. The first clash had ended, but its echoes shook the entire galaxy. The Empire's fleets had been broken, their dreadnought destroyed. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw the Empire bleed. The Emperor was furious. He demanded answers. How can old ghosts destroy my armadas? How can one forgotten species bring fear to my throne? His advisors could not look him in the eye. None dared to say the truth aloud. Humanity was not a ghost. Humanity was alive. In the dark halls of the Imperial Archives, forbidden records were opened again. Ancient maps showed systems once claimed by humans, long before the Empire rose. Most of them were marked as dead or uninhabitable. But new reports painted a different picture. Scouts whispered of strange signals near those systems. Traders swore they saw hidden stations in asteroid fields. And some even claimed entire planets had been shielded, cloaked from sight for centuries. The Empire realized a terrifying truth. Humanity had not vanished. They had hidden. They had built in secret, far from curious eyes. And now, they were ready. Admiral Seraph, humiliated from his earlier failure, spoke in anger before the council. They were preparing all this time. They waited for us to grow arrogant, soft, blind. They never stopped building. They never stopped training. They are the shadows in our past, now standing in our present. The Emperor slammed his fist on the throne. Then we will burn their colonies. Find them. Hunt them down before their strength grows. Orders spread through the fleets. Armadas were sent to forgotten corners of space. In one such corner, deep in a nebula cloud, an Imperial task force discovered something that should not exist. A human colony. The planet was scarred and grey, its surface marked with old craters. At first, it looked abandoned. But when Imperial ships drew closer, defense platforms powered on. Hidden cannons rose from the dust, missile silos opened, and black warships lifted from the shadows of the planet's rings. The Empire thought it would be an easy kill. Instead, the task force was torn apart within hours. Survivors fled in terror, their minds scarred by the sheer scale of human resistance. Across the galaxy, more colonies were found. Each one was armed, fortified, and waiting. The Empire realized another truth. Humanity had not only hidden. They had planned. Every colony was a fortress. Every shipyard was buried deep under rock. Every child grew up learning how to fight, how to build, how to survive. For centuries, the galaxy forgot them. Humanity never forgot the galaxy. Whispers spread among the Empire's subjects. On border worlds, people spoke with awe. They waited in silence for generations. What else have they built? How many more ships are hidden in the dark? Some alien species, long crushed under the Empire's rule, began to feel hope. If humanity could fight back, maybe they could too. Rebellion simmered in quiet places. The Empire's iron grip was beginning to loosen. Meanwhile, on one hidden human colony, a council of commanders gathered inside a bunker deep under the earth. Screens showed the recordings of the first clash. A tall officer, scarred from battles long past, spoke with pride. The Empire now knows we are real. But they do not yet know our full strength. That is our advantage. Another commander asked, should we reveal more of our fleet? Or wait? The answer came from the flagship admiral herself. Her name was Arya Holt, descendant of warriors who had fought in the last Great War. No, she said firmly. We will not rush. We will bleed them slowly. Let the Empire tremble. Let their arrogance eat them from within. And when the time is right, we will strike together and break them. Her words filled the chamber with iron resolve. Back in the capital, the Emperor's dreams turned to nightmares. Every night he saw human warships materializing in the void, striking his fleets, burning his worlds. He could not show fear, but even his closest guards whispered of his restless sleep. The galaxy was changing. The shadows of the past had stepped into the light. Humanity was not a forgotten enemy. They were a storm on the horizon. The stage was set. The Empire hunted desperately, but the more they searched, the more human colonies they uncovered and failed to destroy. The war was no longer about one ghost ship. It was about a people who refused to die. And soon, the Empire would learn that shadows could kill. The galaxy had changed. Whispers of humanity's return spread like fire across every world. At first, the Empire laughed. They called it rumor, myth, fear spread by cowards. But laughter died when the attacks began. It started at the edge of Imperial territory. 3 fleets vanished within a single day. Not destroyed in long battles, vanished. No survivors. No signals. only debris fields left drifting in the void. At first, the Emperor thought it was chance. Pirates, perhaps rebels. But then reports came faster. A shipyard burned in the Kovos system. A supply convoy was ambushed in the Dres sector. An entire fortress world went silent, its defenses crushed. Every time, witnesses spoke the same words. Black warships. Humanity. The Imperial High Command gathered in a panic. Generals and admirals filled the war room, their voices sharp with fear. They are everywhere, one shouted. They strike without warning. They disappear before reinforcements arrive. How can we fight ghosts? Admiral Sereth slammed his fist on the table. They are not ghosts. They are predators. And we are the prey. The Emperor sat silent on his throne, his eyes cold. For centuries, no one had dared speak to him with fear in their voice. Now, even his strongest warriors trembled. The truth was worse than they imagined. Humanity was not sending one ship or one fleet. They were sending many. Hidden colonies across the galaxy had built not dozens, but hundreds of warships. Old designs refined, weapons made with brutal precision. Their fleets did not move like the Empire's rigid armadas. They struck like wolves, fast, silent, coordinated. One system after another fell into chaos. On the border world of Vera, Imperial citizens looked up at the sky in horror. Dozens of black warships descended from orbit, their cannons glowing with deadly fire. The Empire's defense fleet tried to rise, but in less than an hour, every Imperial ship was destroyed. The people expected slaughter. But the humans did not kill them. Instead, they broadcast a message across the planet. We do not come for you. We come for the Empire. Rise, and you will be free. For the first time in generations, the people of Vera cheered. Chains of the Empire were breaking. Back in the capital, fear grew into something worse, doubt. Alien species once loyal to the Emperor began to question his rule. Rebellions sparked in hidden corners. Trade routes collapsed. The galaxy was no longer under full control. The Emperor's fury was endless. He ordered entire fleets to hunt humanity down. He demanded systems be burned to ash if even one human signal was detected. But it made no difference. The more he struck, the more humanity seemed to rise. Like shadows, they were everywhere. Like fire, they spread faster than the Empire could contain. In the hidden command bunker of the human fleet, Admiral Arya Holt stood before a massive star map. Red lights marked Imperial strongholds. Green lights marked human strikes. The green was spreading. A commander smiled. They are falling apart. Their pride is cracking. Admiral Holt nodded, her voice steady. They thought us weak. They thought us gone. Now they see what centuries of survival have made us. We will not stop until the throne itself trembles. The officers cheered. Humanity had waited long for this day. On distant worlds, stories spread like wildfire. Children whispered about the return of humanity. Old rebels painted the symbol of the human fleet on their walls. Entire systems began to hope for freedom. And the Empire knew it. For the first time in history, the great throne of the Emperor shook, not from battle, but from fear. In his private chambers, the Emperor stared at the stars beyond his window. Once, they had belonged to him. Now, he saw shadows moving in the dark. His advisors asked, "What will we do, my Emperor? How can we defeat them?" The Emperor clenched his hands into fists. His voice was low, filled with hatred. "We will not allow them to rise. If humanity wants war, then war they shall have. Summon the Grand Armada. This will be a war to the death." But even as he spoke, he felt the truth inside his chest. The Empire had never feared before. Now, it trembled. The galaxy burned. Every day, more Imperial fleets fell. Every night, the Emperor dreamed of black warships rising from shadows. Humanity was no longer a whisper, no longer a myth. They were a storm. The Emperor could not wait any longer. "Summon the Grand Armada," he commanded. It was the largest force ever gathered in history. Thousands of ships, dreadnoughts, carriers, cruisers, weapons that could shatter moons. The sky above the capital world filled with steel and firepower. The Emperor's words echoed across his throne hall. "Humanity will break before my power. This empire will never fall." Far away, in the silence of hidden space, Admiral Arya Holt stood on the bridge of the human flagship. Around her, hundreds of human warships waited in formation. Their engines glowed like faint stars, quiet but strong. A young officer asked, "Admiral, are we ready?" Arya looked at the star map. The Grand Armada was moving. Soon, the final clash would come. Her voice was steady, sharp like steel. "We are not fighting for victory alone. We are fighting so the galaxy never forgets humanity again. Today, the Empire will face the full strength of those they mocked." The order was given. The fleets moved. The battle began at the edge of the Zyro system. Imperial ships stretched across the stars, their guns glowing with deadly energy. The Grand Armada was a wall of firepower, confident and unbreakable. Then, in the middle of the void, space rippled. One by one, black warships appeared. Dozens, then hundreds, until the human fleet stood revealed. For a long moment, silence held. Two powers, one old and arrogant, one forgotten but reborn, faced each other across the stars. Then the void exploded with war. The Empire fired first. Beams of green energy tore across space, smashing into human shields. Massive dreadnought cannons thundered, missiles streaked like burning comets. Human ships answered in kind. Railguns screamed, sending slugs faster than light. Missiles launched in swarms so dense they looked like storms. Energy lances pierced through the strongest Imperial shields. The void became a graveyard. Ships shattered, fire burned in the dark, wreckage spun like broken stars. Every moment, explosions shook the system. The Grand Armada fought with sheer numbers, but the humans fought with fury, precision, and iron will. Admiral Sereth, commanding from the Imperial flagship, screamed orders. "Hold the line. Break their flanks. They cannot match our numbers." But then he saw it, the humans did not fight like prey. They moved like hunters. Small groups broke apart, circling the Imperial wall, striking weak points, retreating, then striking again. For every human ship destroyed, 3 Imperials burned. On the ground of a nearby colony, civilians looked up. The sky was filled with fire. The battle painted the heavens with death. Yet many cheered, whispering the same word with hope. Humanity. At the heart of the chaos, the Emperor's golden flagship advanced. Larger than a city, armed with weapons that could shatter planets, it moved like a god among mortals. He stood on the command deck, his eyes blazing with fury. "Crush them! Let them see what true power is." The golden ship unleashed its fury, destroying wave after wave of human vessels. Whole squadrons fell. For a moment, the Emperor smiled. But then the human flagship appeared. Admiral Arya Holt stood tall as her ship faced the Emperor's might. "This is where it ends," she whispered. The two flagships clashed, exchanging fire that shook the system. Railgun slugs tore through golden armor, energy blasts cracked human shields. Both ships bled fire, but neither surrendered. Finally, Admiral Holt gave the order. "All power to forward batteries. Fire everything." The human flagship unleashed its full arsenal. Missiles, beams, railguns, every weapon struck at once. The Emperor's golden ship shuddered, its shields collapsing, its hull breaking apart. On the Emperor's bridge, silence fell. His empire, his pride, his throne, it was all crumbling before him. His last words were filled with disbelief. Impossible, they were supposed to be extinct. And then the golden flagship exploded, a sun of fire in the void. The Grand Armada faltered. Without their Emperor, their will shattered. Human ships pressed the attack, tearing the Armada apart. What had once been the Empire's greatest force was now wreckage drifting in silence. The galaxy watched. The unshakable Empire had been broken. When the smoke cleared, Admiral Holt stood on her bridge, surrounded by wreckage. Her ship was damaged, her fleet scarred, but they had won. She spoke to her officers and to every system listening across the stars. "Humanity has returned. We are not shadows. We are not forgotten. This galaxy will never again laugh at our name." On countless worlds, cheers rose. Chains were broken. Species once crushed by the Empire lifted their heads in hope. Humanity had not only survived. They had won. And the galaxy would never forget the day the Empire trembled and fell.